I got so frustrated and I felt so hopeless. And activist, I'm just a fashion designer. So can I use
Shared Diversity podcast? I wanted to talk a bit more about those issues that you addressed and how you addressed them through a creative concept in your runway show. So we met because I found you on Instagram, which speaks a lot about the impact that your brand had, because it literally just showed up on my For You page, which is really difficult, right, these days. So, mashallah, amazing campaign that you did with your runway show in Vogue Scandinavia. And then I created a piece because we talked, and you know that I do a lot of purpose-driven branding and helping brands to create purpose-driven campaigns and business concepts. And I featured your brand because I thought it really took so much when it comes to purpose, bringing in the sustainability factor, the human rights factor when it comes to workers in those regions where most of the fashion is produced. So can you tell us a bit more about what the idea was behind the SS22 runway show?
For those who haven't seen the fashion show and don't have the visual image in front of you, so I did a fashion show dedicated for human rights and especially dedicated the Uyghur genocide and forced labor. The story goes back to actually 1 year ago when I just started the brand, and at the same time, I also found out the news what's going on in Xinjiang, the genocide and the labor camps, and it broke my heart. I couldn't believe it at first because I was born in China. I am Chinese, and that was just against everything I stand for and believe in. And I was just. It took me 1 year. I was educating myself, and I was going into contact with some Uyghur representatives who educated me a lot and taught me a lot about this issue. And I really tried to. A lot of people told me that I shouldn't talk about this. I shouldn't at all even using my platform as a fashion designer to talk about it. Like, you're a fashion designer, you're not a politician. Don't talk about it. It's not your thing. It's not your problems. And don't talk about it. It will damage your brand. And I was struggling a lot with that because I couldn't like find my place. I really wanted to help, and I was contacting government organizations, and I was doing everything I thought was possible to try to engage and help, and nothing helped. I got so frustrated and I felt so hopeless, and I had to go back to myself. Like they say, I'm not a politician, I'm not a journalist, I'm not, I'm not activist. I'm just a fashion designer. So can I use my platform to advocate about this thing that was really, really passionate for me? And just the more I was digging, the more it makes sense for me. Of course, it has everything to do with sustainability, the work I'm working on, because you cannot talk about human sustainability without talking about human rights. Because one of five cotton governments in the whole world in the apparel industry are somehow detained by the forced labor, which is crazy. So like 1 of 5 of your t-shirts you have at home is made from somebody who is suffering from torture and forced sterilization and forced labor, and it's crazy when we talk about it. And how can we in the fashion industry not talk about this? And that's why I came up with the idea that I have nothing to give them. I have nothing to. I don't have. Back then, I didn't have a big platform. I was new. I was a new designer. I had a new brand. I have nothing to offer them. So what I could do was my fashion show. And it was a surprise. Like, nobody knew I was going to do it, and I invited some editors, and most of them I invited like friends from the industry, like photographers and fans who have been supporting me. So I didn't care a lot about the media. They actually came to me afterwards, and it was amazing because it opened doors that was closed before, like never before did fashion industry, like the bigger magazines, or they never addressed this issue, even though that is so related with fashion industry. Like, fashion industry is one of the worst industry when it comes to forced labor.
If you love this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear this. And I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.